washing machine, fridge, smart TV, air conditioner, kitchen items amadi makal khudingmakki home appliances kidamak thoina waningai leite. Kaisampat Kunjeng Hazari Lekai Dalaiba Mezo Hub Impalna ahongba mamalda item khudingmakki up to 50% discount offer tizari. Wedding set unalong matamdasu special oiba discount kayasu hamjari. Interest amatta yaudena 0% EMI loan gi kudong chabasu thamjari. Kudong chabasi mangan biraganu ngasi maklengsin biraku Mezo Hub Impal Kaisampat Kunjeng Hazari Lekai.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ELITETV Open Debate in English. Today being Monday, we will be conducting our open debate in English to reach out to a wider audience beyond the boundaries of our state. I'm Utpala, your host for tonight. Keeping our children learning through COVID-19. The numbers are unprecedented, the implications enormous. As the COVID-19 pandemic has spread across the globe, a majority of countries had announced the temporary closure of schools, impacting more than 91% of students worldwide, around 1.6 billion children and young people. With this sudden shift away from the classroom in many parts of the globe, some are wondering whether the adoption of online learning will continue to persist post-pandemic and how such a shift would impact the worldwide education market. And recently, with the rising number of COVID-19 cases in Manipur, our children have started learning once again through online schooling. Yes, learning continues with online schooling, or is it just how it appears? Does learning really continue with online schooling? Some of the disadvantage of online learning are online learning may create a scene of isolation. Everyone learns in their own manner. Online learning requires self-discipline. Online learning requires additional training for the instructors, and online classes are prone to technical issues, as we all may have faced it sometime or the other. Online learning also means more screen time, which we try to avoid for the younger children. All in all, we continue with the online schooling, and let's find out more about the good and the bad about online schooling. So, ladies and gentlemen, our topic for today is online schooling, the way of the future. Our panelists for tonight's open debate are Mr. N.Satyajeet, Bureau Chief, UNI. Welcome to ELITETV Open Debate, Mr. N.Satyajeet.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. And our second panelist for tonight is Dr. Narengbam Rajivkumar, Principal, IRE Group of Institutions, Wangjing, Manipur. Welcome to our open debate, Mr. Narengbam, Dr. Narengbam.
Thank you.
Once again, a warm welcome to both our panelists. So, we'll start off the topic for today. I'll start with Mr. N.Satyajeet. Well, is online schooling better or offline schooling? What is your opinion on, given the current situation, do you think online schooling would be better or offline schooling?
I would start by saying that the COVID pandemic, it has traumatized the whole world. And we are seeing a scenario where students are compelled to be taught in a system which we had not been doing earlier.
Right.
But we have to understand that online method of education, it can be a highly effective alternative method of education for the students who are matured, self-disciplined and motivated, well organized and having a high degree of time management. But the problem with online education is when it comes to higher studies, it can be problematic because in most of the educational institutes, in higher studies, students, they are refusing to even to come to the educational institutes. So we need motivation. We have to motivate them to come to the educational institutes. And then we have problems of internet connectivity.
Right.
For instance, students who are living in far-flung areas, especially in the interior areas, they do not have a proper internet connectivity. then we have the problem of we have financial problem. The financial problem in the sense that people who do not have proper smartphones, they do not have money to have to recharge their internet data. They are not able to access to the online studies.
Right.
If we look at the education system per se, it is basically framed in such a way that the education system has to be imparted person to person. When there is close connectivity from person to person in a classroom where the students, they can interact freely with the teachers. But with the onslaught of the COVID pandemic, it is a global phenomenon. We cannot avoid it. And we hope that the fourth wave doesn't affect the entire state and the entire nation and the entire globe. Somehow we should overcome it. But since the COVID pandemic is there, we have to live with it, and we have to ensure that students are motivated to use the online platform for education. Otherwise, we don't have any alternative. It has many bad effects and good effects, pros and cons. Some good effects may be that even though if we had no internet, then we would have been in a dilemma. Right. For instance, in the 1990s, internet, fortunately we had internet, and from 1995 we had very good internet connectivity. Even in Manipur also we have very good internet connectivity. So online, I think it is not a means to have proper education, but in this situation when we have pandemic, it is the only way we can provide education to the students. This I would say in the first round, and we can move forward, I think.
Okay, thank you for your views. I'll move on to Dr. Narengbam Rajivkumar. Well, we just spoke about how online schooling or online classes does help students. But my question is, how does online learning impact students of the lower strata of the society? They might not get internet connection. Leave aside internet connection, that's even, you know, they might not even have smartphones. So would their education come to a stop till everything opens up or till the schools begin again? So wouldn't they be behind their peers who are of the same age group but going to who do have the facilities of internet and the devices?
It's a very good question, and first let me just wish the viewers. Actually, we are facing a crisis of this pandemic for the last 2 years, and recently there has been a raise in the number of problems with the cases. And even one life has been lost yesterday. This is not a joke also. So we are fighting against life and death, and we are supposed to go ahead with the education system. Right. Otherwise, the next future will be in the dilemma or in the pack. Absolutely. So what I need to say here is we have a digital divide. So in the present context, because of the financial conditions of the state, as well as we can't even compare with other Western countries and other far advanced countries like Europe. So even India is now very fast in 4G, and now recently 5G is also coming up, and that part is okay. But what I meant to say is, in the rural areas, as our expert also just said, so in the far-flung areas, we have been facing a question of this the affordability of mobiles, the smartphones. So this is a big question, and that's not so if we compare with the offline and online classes, it is definitely different. Even the online classes is another duplication. It's a supplement. It's not a permanent solution. But for the time being, we need to manage with this online. And sometimes for every good things, there is always a demerit. And we know that sometimes students or even children engage in these online classes. So they are addicted to the phones.
Right.
After the classes and other things, because they are addicted and they are so habitual, and even in the dreams also they used to start playing these mobiles. So these are the cases we have faced, and in the case of rural areas, definitely we can't compare with the urban, because there has been a digital divide for the last so many years. Even in the context of Manipur, Manipur is a very poor, like I said, poor state. Even we cannot compare with other advanced states in India. And this is a big challenge. So we need to bridge the digital divide first. And even even our government needs to take certain initiative to balance the things. Otherwise, the education will be imbalanced.
Right.
And all the urban children will advance, whereas the rural children will be lagging behind. So this is the condition we find it. And in this very questions, what I need to say is, okay, we are facing life and death fate, and which one is preferable, life or death? So in these two contexts, life is the priority. So that is why, for time being, we need to manage, and even our government has to take certain initiatives regarding the prevention of the things, and we also can go ahead with, because at the time of elections and at the time of mass gathering, we were not this much serious. But when the things becomes critical, we started thinking of prevention. So prevention has to be done quite earlier, so that we can manage the things. In the state of Manipur, the population is, as compared to other states, is very low.
Yes, exactly.
I think if we take advanced steps and precautions, I think we could solve out all these problems as compared to two things.
Okay. So, well, we're talking about life and death situation here because of the COVID pandemic. But again, the question is, when they started off with offline classes, the regular classes, a lot of children who had never been to school because of the pandemic, they were falling ill. So that's again another. They were falling ill very frequently, so much that they would miss out school for more than 2 weeks. So that's also another impact. So is immunization going to help? Because I think now they're coming up with immunization for the younger children as well. So how is that going to impact the education?
Actually, immunization has to go like hand in hand at the time of immunization of the upper ages. I think it should have been done quite earlier, and it doesn't mean that coming back now right now is too late, but it is acceptable also. But the third wave is coming up, and before third wave, second wave time, so we could proceed with that. With the second dose of the elder people can be followed by the early age group. So I think we are quite late. So I think this type of precautions and preventions has to be quite sensitive, and it should be taken as a priority, so that school children are a soft target. So even the infancy and even the kindergarten students, they don't know what is the behavior of this COVID-19, and even they do things after the hearsay only. Even when they see their peer groups in the classroom, even in the campus, they used to like hug each other, and they used to move around, and they play things. So they are the carrier as well. They may be the carrier, and they may be a serious carrier also.
Right.
And and immunization can be done after, not in the health center. In my suggestion, I would say immunization could be done in the school itself, after taking up all the datas together. When the health team comes up with the immunization programs in the school itself, I think everything could be much easier. But coming from home to the public health center or some immunization center is a big deal. So I think the school must be open, and the school has the roll numbers, the school has the data of all students. I think immunization can be completed in the school itself. I think this is one of my suggestions which I can suggest.
Okay. Thank you for your views. I'll move on to the next round now. Well, Mr. Satyajeet, we were talking about how it can impact the students of higher classes. So how does virtual learning actually impact the students in higher classes? Because we know that schooling can be done online. Children do tend to listen to teachers, and they still have that. But as you said, children who are older, like college level, they have, as it is, even when physical classes are on, they do have their own, they tend to bunk school or college. So how is that, how can we prevent that in in case the pandemic does it doesn't really decrease and it increases, God forbid. So how is it going to impact, because people are so used to online classes now? How is it going to impact the learning?
I will briefly comment on the education system in Manipur in colleges and universities. Recently, the government of India released the rankings for all the universities. It was only the Regional Institute of Medical Sciences which was included within the 15th category, 15th rank. I mean, for 4 years continuously, RIMS was the only institute from Manipur which was within the first 50 category, 50 list. No colleges, no universities except RIMS was not in the list. So it basically says that an education system in Manipur in the higher level is not as expected. Earlier we used to hear that people from our neighboring states, they used to come to Manipur to have higher studies, especially DM college, then GP college. But now the standards of the colleges, they have not diminished, they have not decreased. But the problem in the higher studies is our universities and colleges, they have not upgraded. For instance, many of the institutes, they do not have sociology, pathology, and then they do not have extracurricular activities which are required to educate the children, to provide a better education. So these are the basic problems. Then the other issue in higher studies is most of the colleges, for example, let's say any class, they must be having students of about 120 students, 150 students, where in the metropolitan cities, if you look at the University of Delhi, the students intake does not increase more than 50. Maximum it is 60. Right. But whereas in Manipur, it is up to, even in some classes, 125. So as our other respected panelists said, if you want to have offline classes for the students, it will be quite difficult to organize it, because in the University of Delhi, they have just 50 students. Then they can have classes in batches. But in Manipur, since we have 120, 150, even 200 students in a class, it would be very difficult to manage to have offline classes. So we have to depend on online classes. But as you rightly mentioned, many of the students, they have to be motivated to come to the colleges in Manipur, and even in higher studies, because when I inquired to some of my friends, they said that most of the students, they do not even come for offline classes. So forget about online classes, they do not come for offline classes also. So in adults, I mean, it's very difficult to motivate them. We have to understand that as a culture in Manipur, we pay more emphasis in education from up to class 12 level. You must have seen that most of the parents, they go for tuition classes. They force their children to have tuition classes even before going to school, then after coming back from school up to 18th. But the most important phase in education is we have to understand that it is from 18 to 25 years. This is the phase where the fate of a person, of a student, a girl or a boy, is decided. This is the final exam of a person. This will the phase from 18 to 25 years, you will decide the fate of a person. This is where the role of higher education comes, and this is where Manipur is a little not moving forward, I would say, not rather than saying that it is moving backward, but I would say it is almost stagnant in Manipur. So we have to give more emphasis on higher education, and in this aspect, for example, in engineering colleges and medical colleges, it will be very difficult to have online classes. For example, while having anatomy classes in medical class, in medical colleges, it will be very difficult for the teachers to explain what exactly are the human anatomies. And the basic concept of education is not only having teaching the student, but it is also a social phenomenon. I mean, it helps students to evolve as society, to evolve in a society, to have friends, to interact with each other, and so they can live in a perfect inner world. For instance, if you exactly look what exactly is education, it is a purpose activity as defined by the Wikipedia, directed at achieving certain aims like transmitting knowledge. So basically, this is where the problem lies. I mean, we are transmitting knowledge to the students. For this, we need, and so that they can hone their skills, foster their skills. So online and offline classes, they are compulsory. I mean, since as I said in the first rounds, after 1995, even before COVID pandemic came, many students, they had started, even many institutes, they had starting online classes, because it helps in many purposes. Because after even in the COVID pandemic ends, people will be having both online and offline in many of the colleges. And if we see the in most of the engineering colleges, and if we see the education system in the most developed nations, because if we see the education QR rankings, we see that it is only the US, UK, European nations, South Korea, Japan, and Australia, which are very good in education system. So if we did that system, they use both online and offline classes, and they use it very effectively. And for that, they need motivation, that they need involvement of parents, as I mentioned earlier. Since we have the system of providing education up to class 12 only. After class 12, the parents have a tendency to forget everything. For example, if I have a daughter or son, I will be giving emphasis until she or he is till class 12. After that, we'll forget everything. But in education system, it's like just like preparing food. In Manipur, the trend is more of providing cooked food. For example, if we send them for tuitions, it is basically cooked food. We are not providing the skills to the students. The basic skill is how to teach the student how to cook the food, how to prepare the food. That is something we are lacking. And so I think if we want to move forward, we have to change the. Even though I'm going little stray from the normal issue, because it is a vast topic and it's a very exhaustive discussions. And I would say that we need to move forward, and we need both offline and online classes, and we need an adjustment between the two. And for that, as our other panelists said, we need involvement of the parents, not only of the parents, but of the system. By system, I mean the government, because in many societies, in many areas, people do not have proper connectivity. Connectivity not only in terms of road, but in sense of internet data. Because we need to provide proper internet data and smartphones to students, so that they can move forward in their life to achieve a better goal in life. That I would say briefly in the second round. Thank you.
Thank you for your views. So, well, Dr. Narengbam, we were talking about again the students, the older students that have online class. Now, this would actually apply to younger as well as the older students. They need to develop social skills, which they would if they had offline classes. Now, with online classes, again, this would, the past 2 years, the pandemic being the reason, they've had schooling online from home. So there's hardly any interaction between the students. It's only interaction between the teacher and the students. They cannot really talk in the class, and even if they had a break, it wouldn't actually be the same as online, offline schooling. So how are the children going to develop that social skill? I think, isn't there going to be some sort of a gap in social skills? Even if they start off with the regular schooling, the initial part or some part of their school life has gone online. So wouldn't that impact their social skills? of this present generation of school children? I think you're on mute. Dr. Narengbam, I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Actually, this is a very true thing, and the social linkage will be break up.
Right.
Because once online classes has been started and it has become habitual to each and everyone, why we are establishing institutions is to socialize the students so that they can become quite because we always say that education ends in society. So education has an impact to be a very good citizen in a society. Now, once these online classes has become so habitual, and due to pandemic also, we are again reinforced to adopt more in the online classes.
Right.
And due to these reasons, the social gap has come up, and students are isolated from the society.
Right.
They are captive to the rooms, and they are quite engaged, and they started even the cheating part has also come up because their life is growing because of the competitions with the friends, because they are growing with so many other imitations learned from the friends also. Not only the teachers, the classes, but also they are learning from the students itself, their friends.
Exactly.
So these are quite prohibited because of this situation. And one more thing is the socialization part is a big threat because of all those it's a two-way process. The two-way process is missing out only in the theory. That is what we call as the cognitive domain. The knowledge part is imparted well, and they can get a lot of references which they can't even, the teachers cannot provide in the classroom, like blackboard or whiteboard. Even they can get a lot of options from the online classes. Like, for example, they can immediately take up a certain e-learning process. So these are very good things. But on the other side, it has a dark side also. Thus, the dark side is social gap is definitely there, and even the teachers who are trying to give the lessons is not to let know what to teach. But the reason why we are teaching is missing out. As our panelists, our respected panelists just rightly said that we are after the academics. We are after the academics. We are after the examinations. We are after the knowledge gaining on. But rather the practical oriented courses like even engineering and medical and even some other practical oriented courses, we cannot depend on the online courses all the time, because we need to understand from our practical things like the anatomy study, the operations, the other calculations which are to be done on the offline these situations. So there are so many things which are lacking in the life skill because of these programs. Because definitely what I would like to say is, yes,
Dr. Narengbam, I think we just lost connection with Dr. Narengbam because of power failure. So I'll move on to. Okay. We have Dr. Narengbam back.
Okay.
Please continue. Right.
I'll just continue because we are countering with the availability of this. Orientation is missing out. People are thinking about our panelists.
Dr. Narengbam, your voice is getting, it's breaking up, the connection, I think.
Okay, just let me check it.
It seems, it seems okay now. Okay, I think there's a little slight technical issue because, we have Dr. Narengbam back online.
Yeah. So what I meant to say is the practical orientation part of that course and our parents and the society is only taking the advantages of good scoring marks and then in the matriculations or in the +2.
Right.
Rather, the life-changing part is missing out. So the life-changing part will be after class 12. So before pursuing this graduation or the professional course which they can fit in their life is missing out. And till class 12, everyone is opting for science courses, rather than the arts course or the arts. So these are also another factor we are countering these life skill programs, and people are graduated, people are post-graduated from the reputed universities, but they are not capable of handling their lives because of this academic pressure. So people are crazy only on the academic performance rather than implementing on their lives.
So wouldn't that that's one of the reasons is because of the lack of social skills, because we are just concentrating on academics till the 12th grade, where most of the schools, the education institutes in our state do not have, very rarely have extracurricular activities, and it's not really encouraged among the students. Now, and with online schooling or online learning, I think even that is impacted a lot. Even the little extracurricular activities that were actually being carried out, that actually comes to a total standstill. So how effective is online? Now the question again comes, how effective is online schooling and how is it going to impact the lives of the students?
It will have not the qualities like the offline. It will somehow fulfill some requirements of managing and engaging them in some academic and educational platform. Otherwise, we cannot expect 100% from these online classes.
Absolutely.
Because we may expect about 25 to even 50% from online classes, but the rest part of the expectations we can expect it from only on the from the offline classes.
Right.
So, in my conclusion, I would say, because we need to manage, we need to collaborate online as well as offline if possible.
Okay.
Otherwise, in these critical conditions of COVID and the pandemic, we need to manage with the online.
Okay.
This is for time temporary, and this is not the finance solution. What I need to say is, for the finance solution, every learning needs offline classes, because online classes is for taking references which are within our reach. Sometimes we take a lot of references from the e-learning, digital mediums, and even YouTube, whatever we can include in the online classes. But this is not a final solution. This is just for references.
Right. Okay.
And for right type of learning, the actual learning, we need offline classes, where practicals are important, and students should be engaged with the practical options.
Okay, thank you for your input. I'll move to the next round now. Now, Mr. Satyajeet, the schools have been closed till the 24th in the state of Manipur. Now, they've started with online classes, but it's not that every school is having online classes. Some of the schools are not even attempting online class. So doesn't that kind of affect the learning of students of the same class? Let's say a student of grade 1 or 2 in a school where they have online classes, and a student of another school where they're not holding any online classes. Wouldn't there be a disparity between the learning, because the syllabus will be completed, they have to be completed at a certain time. And again, they say it's till the 24th, but if the situation doesn't improve, it can be extended, I believe. So what are the ways of improving this situation?
First of all, we have to pray that the COVID and the pandemic ends really fast, because it has, as I said earlier, devastated the whole nation. It has devastated our life. It has caused so many miseries. It has caused so many deaths, so many sufferings to the people, And we have to understand that Manipur has seen so many wars with Myanmar, and it has seen devastating wars like World War II, and we hope that Manipur will really overcome the pandemic and move forward to a more brighter society, to a brighter world. And coming to a question, it is correct that some schools, they have really adapted well. They have started online classes. Immediately the next day, the government announced that there will be no classes till the 24th.
Right.
But in many schools, they haven't yet started because it takes time to formulate policies, and it takes time to coordinate. And it is not possible in some government colleges. In most of the government colleges, if you see, so not colleges, schools, if you see that during the last 2 years, most of the private schools and some CBSE schools, they organize the online classes very well. But in most of the government schools, online classes were not done properly. It was not successful as also because it was because of the economic and issue that we discussed earlier, that the government school students, they will be, as you rightly said, that there will be some differences between the students because the government students and the poor students, they will be affected more by the COVID pandemic because they do not have access to smartphones, they do not have access to proper data connection. So the poor students and the government-going students, they will be suffering more. This is the time the government should intervene, and this is the time the government should really come forward to helping the students, especially in the government schools, because they have announced that for the toppers, there are so many incentives for the toppers, but for those who are really backward in education and those who are really backward in financially, the government should help them. The localities should help them, the communities should help them, and the local representatives should help them so that they can have proper education system. This COVID pandemic has also informed us, has also taught us that this pandemic will not end so quickly.
Right.
So we have to adapt a system where, especially government, I'm specifically saying government schools because this is where the mostly poor students study.
Right.
We don't have much problem for private schools because they can afford to buy good smartphones, and they can afford data also. But the government school students, this is the main emphasis of the government, because if this continues for the next, unfortunately, if we say that if this goes on for the next few years, then we'll be seeing that the entire education system will collapse, because all those weaker sections, they will not have access to proper education. So this is the perfect time for the government to intervene, and for this. Even if at a personal level, if we cannot do it, I mean the localities should come forward. When I say localities, means there are so many clubs, there are so many at every Laikai. The Laikais, their neighborhood, they know who the students are who are really weak. So the local clubs, they can come up with some good ideas, and they can organize in their local community halls. There are so many good community halls where they provide good internet connectivity. I mean, this is the perfect time for local leadership. This is the perfect time for local leaders, for the Laikai leadership, Mairapadis, to come forward and helping the students who are really weak. Because as you said that, there will be some disparity. It is correct. It is right. It is very unfortunate. Students who are really weak and who cannot afford smartphones, they will be affected tremendously by this COVID pandemic. And so at the primary level, not to impart proper education, we all have to support them. Otherwise, we will have a very bleak future, and many of the students, they will not be having proper education system. For this, we have to do something. This I will briefly say on this issue.
Thank you. So we'll move on to Dr. Narengbam. Well, we were talking about how the government can intervene in such a scenario, in this case. So as of now, we have the schools being closed till the 24th. And if we go further, what do you think? Shouldn't the government come up with some sort of a system where they, at least for this particular state, they can set the syllabus and a date where, let's say, for example, if the lockdown is if the schools are closed till this certain date, then these schools or these standards, these classes should finish this portion within the stipulated time. Wouldn't that help in some way? Because as we were talking, some of the students will be affected, some of them will continue. And also, there's that personal touch which is missing between the children and the teachers. So the teacher will talk, she will complete her portion, whatever is dedicated for the day, but she wouldn't really know if the student has really understood the topic or not, because time is limited. So what can we just spoke about how the laikais can help and with the weaker students, but what about how can we make it even better with the syllabus?
Yeah, actually, I was in the last COVID, I was in the curriculum framework this committee, and we finalized a lot of steps how we can counter the pandemic with the academics.
Right.
So when the pandemic is about 2-3 months or even 6 months longer, then we need to minimize the syllabus. This is how we used to frame the things.
Okay.
Once it is 3 months quarter type, then the half yearly type. When the system is chronic, even the 3 quarters, then we need to ask from this syllabus. So we keep on cutting the syllabus so that these are the portions we can study within this very much stipulated time. So this is how we can minimize the syllabus. But actually, the government even also can counter in certain areas, like minimizing the syllabus. At the same time, they also corporate or incorporate the local leaders, even some social clubs, even Medapibis, where they can in the club or community hall, they can organize a big system where they can connect with the online classes. So these are some steps they can do, but this is not actually the final solution, because we are very much lagging behind with the systems. Even we are very much advanced in Facebook and other social media apps, but we are not that much accumulated or that much smart in the online classes.
Right.
And we need, because our government needs to plan in such a way that everyone is ready to counter the situation, any form of counter. So when the system becomes worse and worse, we need to be more focused, and it will and we need to even manage the certain steps, the priorities, like the syllabus, like the infrastructures, even the systems, the e-learning processes. I'm connected with a lot of calls. So these are the things, and for the present situation is still not that much alert, because the schools are closed down till 24th.
Right.
It's about a week or so. So this is not that much chronic at the moment.
Yeah.
So I appeal the government to take certain initiatives and certain precautions where they can alert the stakeholders, the directors, the commissioners, so that they can pursue the things, and they can even order the things so that everything is under plan and it can work out better, because precaution is much better than the last solution.
Right. So
I think the government has to be even open up eyes, and they have to be positively ready in any forms of challenges, because COVID and other forms of pandemic will continue, because this 21st century is we are countering with the biological wars,
right,
and so it will continue. I think so. So we we need to manage the thing, and even say, for example, Japan, which is a natural disaster place, especially the earthquake. So Japan is all the time ready with the earthquake.
Right.
So anytime, any moment, earthquake may happen in Japan. So Japan is quite ready with any form of distractions coming up with the earthquake in Japan. So like that, we need to prepare ourselves with so many systems and with so many inputs. We need to join together, not the criticism.
Right.
We need to collaborate each other, and we need to take suggestions from the resources wherever available, even the clerks, even the resource persons and other well-known people. So we need to collaborate each other, and we need to take very good suggestions for a positive solution. So otherwise, it should not be a political bias. It should not be a political form of countering. It should be something which can solve out the problems which will come up in the future. This is what I can suggest. So government, I think in my suggestions, government is having still time just to plan, and even they can invite good suggestions from other intellectuals or any form of circles, so that they can collect the data, and they can whatever can be converted into actions can be choked out right now. So I think the government must be ready with this type of invitations from other resources, the suggestions which can be applicable right now. So these are the solutions I can suggest.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your views. Well, my next question to Mr. Satyajeet. We were talking about minimizing the syllabus. So, okay. Well, again, I'll come back to the date again, to the date of till when the schools will be closed. So far, it's till the 24th. Now, it's a wait and watch situation, because the most vulnerable, population are the school-going children as of now, because most of the adults have been vaccinated. So again, since we are in a wait and watch situation, do you think it was a good idea for some of the schools, or 50 to 70% of the schools, starting online classes, or do you think we could have waited till the 24th and then going forward, according to the situation, do you think then the classes could have started?
I think the government has taken the right decision, because most of the children below 12 years of age are not vaccinated,
right.
And it is very difficult to control the children also in the primary level, because whatever the teachers say, they will not follow. The basic problem of COVID is the self-distancing.
Right.
You need to have the distance of at least 6 feet. Then you need to cover your face with masks. But that is something which is almost impossible to implement when it comes to primary level students.
Right.
So I think the government has taken the right decision in at least stopping the classes for a week or so, because there's nothing wrong in that, because in case we have a sudden spurt in the level of COVID cases, then it will become uncontrollable, right. And we'll be in a trauma, because if all the children from the age group of 5 to 12 are affected, then we'll have in a problem which we may repent later also.
Right.
So I think the government has taken the right decision. And even if the situation does not improve, we may even see the government extending the closure of schools. I mean, there's nothing wrong in that, because the basic problem is, the basic issue is saving life is more important.
Absolutely.
Because if we lose, as I have mentioned earlier, we have seen lots of wars, we have seen World War II, we have seen many wars, we have seen many trauma, earthquakes. So we have to take it as a phase. I mean, we cannot avoid it. We have to take it as a natural occurrence, as an accident. So we have to overcome it. But until and unless the situation improves, until and unless there is complete sanity in the society, when everyone is COVID free, then students they can freely start their student life, the education system can proceed forward. But I think the government has taken the right decision, and I feel that the government may extend it a little further, because we have seen that it has touched the 100 plus in the last yesterday, day before yesterday. Yesterday it was 70 plus. So in the next few days, if the number of COVID cases does not decrease, we have to close down the schools, because there's no alternative, and we have to start a system which we had been discussing, that we have to do only online classes. We have no other alternatives. But when the situation improves, then by shortening the syllabus, by deleting certain portions which are unavoidable, we have to do it, because we have no other alternative. And we hope that COVID ends. We hope that everybody can come to schools and colleges as it was earlier. The basic problem with online is, as I discussed with some of my friends, is the problems in assessment. For example, most of the students, they will be appearing their examinations at their home. They will be giving their examinations at their home. They will be writing everything at their home. We can't say for sure if everything is correct, because even in offline examinations, I mean, they have various means of cheating. They can write in their hands. But in online classes, it is assessment of students are very difficult, and grading examinations, it is not sure if the students, they are doing it well or not. But coming to the basic issue, basic issue is we have to save lives. Lives are, if we need to have healthy society, because if the children from 6 to 12 are affected, and if they have complications in their life, in the future life, then our next generation will not be safe. Our future generation will be having lots of health problems. So I think the primary focus of the government, of the society, the parents, and everybody is to save life and to provide the best good education system which we can during this pandemic. And online system which we have now is the only means by which we can provide a good education system in the to the students. And we hope COVID ends. If COVID does not end, if the fourth wave continues, then we have to evolve a mechanism by which we can provide the best education system to our children. That's the only solution.
I think what we just spoke about assessment, rather than having the regular examination that is held in schools, maybe they can come up with, the educators can come up with multiple choice questions that would actually give options to the students and check their understanding. So they cannot just mark anything, or they wouldn't be able to get the answers in the book as such. They would be able to, we would actually know that they've understood the topic by going through the multiple choice question. So I think that's another, as you rightly said, about the assessment, how much they're understanding. So just to check the understanding, I think multiple choice questions would be a very good option.
It will be, but it will be a problem, especially for the class 1-2 students, because they will not. I feel that they will not understand the what is right or what is wrong, because and it will be a problem when it comes to essay writing and. Especially in mathematics also. But at primary level, I think, but ultimately let's watch and see, and let us pray. And as I said earlier, let us pray the COVID pandemic ends. Otherwise we have to, otherwise we have to go through it, and we have to, whatever, if the assessment is right, even if they cheat, but what ultimately lies is protecting human life. And the other is the responsibility of parents to ensure that the children are giving their examinations in the perfect way without cheating, and so that they can have good marks and the correct marks. Otherwise, it is not possible to see exactly what is exactly going on, and we cannot predict the future also. And we can only pray, because we do not know what the COVID is, because it has transformed in a various way. We have seen it mutating from one version to another, then we have seen the dangerous Delta, then we have seen the Omicron. Now they are saying that the present version is a variant of the Omicron. So and what we know is only the epidemiologists can say, only the experts can say what's the future of the virus, then we cannot say, because we are simple laymen. And let's pray that the COVID pandemic ends, and our future, our children, they can have the perfect education system offline as well as online. And until the situation improves, we have no other alternative. Online education is the only alternative which we have if the COVID situation does not improve. That I would say.
Right. I think personally, as a parent, I would want my children to understand what's happening in class rather than look for good marks, because that's basically where all the cheating starts, because they want good marks. They want high marks or full marks. So I think each parent should take the responsibility of their ward and make sure that they understand the topic rather than get good marks, because I think that's the need of the hour, especially when we're dealing with online classes, because online classes, they're obviously going to, it's very easy for them to access the book while the exam is going on. So rather than concentrating on the marks, I think we should concentrate on the student understanding the topic more. So, okay, thank you again. That was just my view. I'll move on to the next question to Dr. Narengbam. We're talking about online schooling as of now. Now, many schools in our state have students, as you mentioned earlier, about 70 to 80 students in one section of a class. So, in such a situation, how is online class going to be conducted? Wouldn't it be very difficult for the instructor, for the teacher, to conduct a class where there'll be 70 to 80 students online? Would it be possible?
It may be made possible only on the negotiations. Otherwise, quality-wise, we can't compromise.
Right.
Quality needs to be like in a number proportion, which is less than 40. So 40:1 is the right criteria for a class.
Right.
But whereas in the context of Manipur, we have been having a very large number of students, which is under beyond control. And sometimes in some sections, the students' capacity are about 80, even 100,
right.
which is beyond controllable things. So I think 60, 70, we can manage the online classes, but it's not. It's just a negotiations. It's a compromise, and we at this moment everything is under compromise. When we talk about the online classes during the pandemic, it's also a compromise. So we cannot be that much serious as we are in the offline classes. So when the situation becomes normal, we can be a little bit more serious. Otherwise, for the moment when the pandemic is on, we need to even minimize the syllabus. We need to concentrate on assessment rather than the project like the evaluation thing. Because in my suggestion, I would suggest that assessment on the project work will be much better to just analyze whether they understand the project, the programs, the contents of the lessons, because everything which there are subjects which can be converted into projects, so that the children can prepare at home. Say even tree plantation, the pottery, even the gardening, even
more activity-based.
Interesting programs.
Right, activity-based.
The home-based activities, activity-based the things can be assessed, and we can make them busy with the little bit of combinations with the syllabus at the same time curriculum.
Right.
At the same time, this curriculum can be quite mixed up with the activity programs where the teachers need to understand and make it practicable things. So these are the options we can do. As our panelists also just said, that we are just compromising the things at this moment, because life is more important than any other things in life. So we are managing the thing. We are just negotiating on every aspect. But I would suggest that, because since pandemic has started for the last 2 years, and even the fourth wave is coming out, and there are so many other viruses which are beyond our the descriptions. So this will continue, I hope so. But so we need to plan certain things where we can make the children more engaged on activity based, at the same time practical project works or even practical things where they can prepare, they can do the things, and after the pandemic is over, they can submit all those projects, and we can also give marks as per their project plans. So these are the things we can manage. Otherwise, even multiplication, the multiple choice questions, the short questions, even open book exams.
Right.
Sometimes these are all negotiations.
Right.
Because we cannot predict that they are not doing the
exactly.
cheating.
Right.
Cheating may be sometimes helped by parents.
Yes, absolutely.
So
I think the open book exams are more difficult than the regular exams because they wouldn't know where to look for the answers. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Unless they understood the topic.
If we are to conduct the exams, let us do the open book exam.
Right.
Where even the parents are very hard to find answers.
Yes.
So these are the other options we can do.
Right.
Otherwise, more interestingly, we can give them project assignments where they can prepare, they can engage themselves with, they can busy with their project works and even searching the items of the project work. So I think this is another options we can bring in the quality education. Otherwise, online classes with the online assessment, these are, I think, unpredictable with the quality.
Right.
So even we cannot even blame the parents. We can even blame the students also either. Even the teachers we cannot blame. So overall, our education system will collapse in due course.
Right.
So I think my best suggestion is we can minimize the syllabus, and wherever practicals are there, we can, for the time being, we can make the students busy with the project works, so that even in a week's time or 1 month's time, they can prepare their project works. And after the pandemic, this alert is over, they can submit the project works and they can exchange with the marks.
Right.
I think this is one of the best options we can also plan for them.
Right. Okay. Thank you again for your valuable views. So I think I'll come to the last part of our open debate today. Well, we spoke about the not having any other options than to go for online classes while the pandemic is on, and as we say, something is better than nothing. So yes, a little bit of learning is still better than doing nothing at all. But the last question for my respected panelists today is that these children have to sit in front of the screen, which increases their screen time, and that would impact their health, mental as well as physical health. What can we do about that? Mr. Satyajit, please answer first.
Exactly. It is a very good question. That is one issue which I was also thinking, and every parents are also concerned about the children. We have noticed that during the last few years, humans are basically social and political beings.
Absolutely.
They need movement. Otherwise, they become machines. Bedridden. So they basically they need movements. They need physical exercises. Otherwise, they will be having lots of health problems. And our children are forced to look at the screens for multiple long hours. I mean, it has caused the basic problem in their eyes. Then they are refusing even to do some physical exercises.
Absolutely,
also.
Yes.
So we even joke with some of the children, like if they do operations, human operations in the hospital, they will be saying that no, we're doing online operations. I mean, this is one. It is exactly, people are joking.
Yes.
So this is really happy. This is really happening, and so. Most of the children who need lots of physical activities, we are forcing them to be inside the room, close doors, and looking at the either at the tablet, mobile, or the laptop all the time. And And it decreases their human capabilities also, because during our childhood we used to go to the library to search for different books and to discuss issues. Now they just Google and they get everything in their fingertips. So they are basically become dull also, and they don't do any calculations also. They just do in the calculator. So life has changed drastically, and it has decreased the human capabilities also. It has affected overall human health also. So I feel that it is not good. Overall human capability has decreased drastically, and people have become lazier, and they are refusing to do what people used to do earlier also. I mean, they have become just like robot machines which are refusing to do anything. They don't know anything. I mean, I'm afraid that the next generation which we have, there will be lazy people, lots of physical problems, health issues. So even the human race, they may become extinct also.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is also it is also
because,
possible. So,
children are looking for instant gratification now. They want everything instantly.
Yes. Instant noodle. I mean,
absolutely.
Even for food also, they are refusing to. This is not only the problem of the pandemic also. I mean, if you look at the lifestyle which has been which they have been groomed up. So that even they are refusing to prepare food also, they will be ordering it online.
Absolutely.
So no, we order it online, it will be delivered. So I don't know if it is good for health, it is also very bad for health. I don't know which type of oil. I mean, I am not saying that all the restaurants are not good, but I am saying that it is not good also for health and for human consumption also. So we hope that it ultimately ends, and we hope that all the children, they will start working in such a way that their health improves, and otherwise, I mean, the overall health will deteriorate, and will not have a future generation which are healthy, but poor in health, poor in mind, and I don't know about their sincerity in life also, because during online classes they will be cheating throughout in their life. In future, when they become government officials or when they become some, they go for judiciary works, I mean, they do only the cheating works also. So I mean, when it also gives a wrong impression to them that they have to cheat all the way, because they have to be looking only for short-term measures also. So I think it is not good from overall perspective. So I think we should change their lifestyle, and we should help them. Otherwise, it's not a good future. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll come to Dr. Narengbam. We were just, we were discussing about how the lifestyle of the present generation has changed. What is your, what would your suggestion be to the current generation and of course the younger generation about how life can be normalized after the pandemic? Because at the rate we are going, it seems like this trend is going to continue. So how can we stop that and go back to a normal life as we've known it?
It's a very beautiful question. And the value of life has been compromised in so many ways. Now the people are replaced by machines all the time. Even the calculators are doing the mental work which the human has to. In the primitive ages, the calculations were done mentally. So people were so brilliant at that time, and they calculate with minds, and I think logical use was there. But now everything has been replaced by machines. So we want to complete whatever missions we have in our life is in a button. So our fingertips are using everything in a very easier way. At the same time, these machines are replicating, and these are really enhancing our life also in other sense, but sometimes it is compromising with our mental ability at the time of education and educating the children. Sometimes the logical thinking which are applied in our life has been replaced by a lot of things which are in the machines. So it's a big threat also sometimes. And even while talking to this thing, health part also, the mental strain, at the same time the eyesights are lost, at the same time the health problem is also compromised. And here the family has to have a very good and disciplined life, and the children are to be monitored time and again by the parents, the limitations of the uses of the mobile phones, apart from their leisure time. The leisure time has been like is also again continued after these online classes. They continue with using or even playing with the games and other things. So which is really hazardous also in the health. So on one way or the others, we are always getting demerit from these online classes. At the same time, multiple using of these tablets or whatever mobiles. So these are actually a threat to our life.
Absolutely.
And the most difficult part is once the children are addicted to mobiles, it is very hard to counsel them again and bring to the normal life.
That's very true.
So sometimes we need to compromise, and this is why I'm just pleading and I'm appealing to all the parents that to just have guidelines on how to use and what time limit the child has to use the mobile. So at night, so the phone must be cut off at 8 or 8:30 after these classes. No more use. So the child has to like raise his eyesight or the child's eyesight during even night also, because they are again looking at the television again. All this
absolutely
the
screen time, it adds up completely. Yes.
Yeah. Radiations, these are they're really hazardous.
Right.
So somehow or the others, we are really destroyed by these are all the hazardous things. Apart from development, we are getting negative disorders from this, all these kids of this our modern times. So I think in ancient times we were having that military calculations which the calculators cannot do, and we were doing things everything in a logical way. We have been using our minds to calculate. Only all solutions are brought up by these only calculations of the mind. So now everything is replaced by a Google or the shortest way of getting the answers. So these are actually not applicable in life. But for time being, we are so much satisfied with YouTube, these Googles. These are shortest means, but they are not the solution.
I think the books. At some point, we used to say books are a man's.
The book.
They're becoming obsolete
what
now.
What I can see is every institution is having library. Which, even teachers are also not moving to library. The children are not moving to library. They are not nowadays. Some one decade or 2 decades back, we were buying Wisdom. We were buying Twinkle.
Absolutely.
These are series which are very much very attractive and very good too. We are waiting for the series to come up. So everything is now halt. So I think. Our life is changed.
Absolutely.
So,
it's going in a very different direction.
Change is necessity of life, but we need to compromise on certain things. So what I appeal in the last conclusion part is the family has to have a disciplined life. The family has to have a suggestive rules where the children can abide with that rules and brought them together with the brought up of the education. I think this will be beneficial for all of us.
Right. Thank you so much for your views once again. I'll wrap up our open debate here for tonight. I'd like to thank Mr. N.Satyajeet and Dr. Narengbam Rajivkumar for your valuable inputs, for your time. It's been wonderful and on this particular topic, which is really the need of the hour as of today. Thank you once again. And
thank you.
Thank you. And well, we've come to the end of the debate, and will our life become normal, or have we moved on to a new digital era? Now we have to wait and watch. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching our show. Please do not forget to leave your precious feedback, and do let us know if there are any social issues that you'd like us to cover in our show. Thank you all. I'm your host, Utpala, signing off for tonight. See you again next Monday with another exciting topic. Good night.
washing machine, fridge, smart TV, air conditioner, kitchen items amadi makal khudingmakki home appliances kidamak thoina waningai leite. Kaisampat Konjen Hazari Lekai Dalaiba, Mezo of Impalna, Ahongo Mamalda, item Kudimaki, up to 50% discount offer Tizeli. Wedding is set when a long matamdasu is the same over discount Kayasu Tanzari. Interest Amaka Yaudena 0% EMI loan me Kudong Sabasu Tanzari. Kudong Sabasi Mahan Birganu, Nasi Nasi Makling Sinbirau, Mezo of Impal, Kaisampat Konjen Hazari Lekai.